So you've just downloaded a Pro Tools template or vocal chain from the helpmedevon.info site. I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks that you're going to need to know or should know when using the actual vocal chain or template. Let's get right to it. So as soon as you open the file that you have downloaded, you'll see a few files in the actual folder. One will say stock and one will say nothing, and it will say the corresponding template or vocal chain that you download, whether it's the small child template or the priest alone template or the spring crawler template. They all will be labeled, but one of the files in the folder will say stock and the other will just say the name itself. This one that says stock is basically a version of the actual template or vocal chain that you can use native to Pro Tools. All the plugins that are in this particular session are native to Pro Tools, meaning you have them. You have all of these plugins already that are there within the actual program. Now, this is what I suggest for people that don't have all of the plugins and are looking to get started with the actual preset as far as the vocal chain is concerned, but you don't have all the plugins. So if you don't have all the plugins, you're going to be using the stock version. Now, if you have all of the plugins that was listed in the description or in our README, which is also a file that we have in here, then you're good to go, and that's the file that you're going to go with. You're going to go with the one that does not say stock. That one is for you if you have all of the plugins that are listed within the actual README or description. Okay. Other thing that you'll notice in this folder is you'll notice something that says FabFilter Screenshot. Now, what is this FabFilter Screenshot? Now, the only people that this applies for or that needs to pay attention to this are people that have FabFilter Saturn 2. Now, if you have FabFilter Saturn 2, we created this template or vocal chain in the likeness of FabFilter Saturn 1. But if you have FabFilter Saturn 2, this won't open for you. So what we did was we gave you a screenshot of FabFilter 1 that you can put into the settings of FabFilter 2. So if you have FabFilter 1, you're fine. This will open just right. But if you have FabFilter 2, you're going to need this screenshot to put into your FabFilter 2 settings. Simple. Gotcha? All right. Moving right along. Next thing you'll notice is when you open the session. So we just double click the session and we open it. This is what you're greeted with. You're greeted with a few tracks. One says 2-track, or better yet, let's go here. One says master. Another says 2-track. Another says record here. Some of them say vocal bus. Some of you will have this. And then it varies depending on which one you have. You'll see effects tracks where you'll see something like a short verb, long verb, eighth delay, fourth delay, doubler, all kinds of different effects. And these are labeled in baby blue for you to notice. So long story short, your 2-track is pretty self-explanatory. This is where you import your instrumental or beat to record or into the session. So basically you would go file, import, audio, and bring it right into this track right here to record. The next thing you'll notice is this record here track. This is also self-explanatory. Basically, this is where you're recording your vocals. You would take this and you would record your vocals straight on it. Now, for a lot of you, I have no idea, or we have no idea, what audio interface you're using. So you need to make sure that you set the correct input for this record here track from your microphone. So say, for instance, your record here track is, or the signal from your microphone is analog 1 or input 1. Go on over to Inputs, Interface, and click Analog 1. Now it's recording and going to take signal and listen for signal from the Analog 1 section. Simple? Good. Okay. The biggest thing that I want you guys to know is this, coming away from this. Make sure that you're recording your vocals at peak -10. So that means that when you're looking at your preamp, the peaks from that preamp should be coming out -10 to give you the most optimal sound of the plugins that we have set here. If you're recording it too hot, then it's going to sound bad. If you're recording it too low, it's going to sound bad, or it's just not going to sound as strong as it would as if you hit those -10 dB peaks coming in to the actual DAW. Now, the other thing I'm going to show you guys is this. The record here track and the vocal bus track. I want you to understand this relationship of what this actually is. The record here track is being bussed out to the vocal bus track. So basically the entire signal of the record here track is being sent out to this aux track called vocal bus. The reason why we did this was because it allowed us to put more plugins on the actual vocal chain. If we didn't have the vocal bus, then we would only have that one slot that we could put all those plugins. But since we have the aux that it's feeding, now we have more slots to add more plugins. So when you want to change the volume or you want to turn down the actual vocal, everything goes through the vocal bus track. So you would literally go to the vocal bus track and turn the vocal down here. This fader that says record here should not be touched. You should leave it alone and leave it at 0. Where the volume is coming in is fine. What you need to, when you want to actually change it within your mix as far as the volume, you go to your vocal bus one and you turn it down or up for your own taste, and that's it. So that's basically all you would need to do. The other thing that I'll show you guys is the aux sends. And basically these sends are being sent out to the effects. Some of you won't have any, but some of you will have things like a short verb, a long verb, an eighth delay, a fourth delay, a doubler. This is basically what this is. So if you come right over here, you see this short verb right here. All you would have to do is come over here, and if you want more short verb, turn it up. If you want more eighth note delay in your signal, turn it up. If you want more long verb, turn it up. If you don't want it at all, guess what you could do? You could turn them all off just like that. Basically, take them and mute them. Mute, mute, and mute. And that's all you would really need to do with it. Now, say for instance, you have multiple rappers or singers in the studio and you want to continue to use this same vocal chain. There's two things you can do. You can literally go right here, click this record here track, click this vocal bus track, and what you can do is you can just duplicate the signals. So you come right down to here and you click duplicate, enter, boom. You've just created another vocal chain, basically from the vocal chain that you already had. Now, the only thing you need to do is when you want to change, there's some things you have to change. Because if you record on this track right here, remember, this is feeding the same bus. So you want to give this its own identity, its own bus, separate from that one, because you want to affect that rapper or singer different from the other. So basically, on this duplicate, you need to change the bus to any other bus besides the one that you all have already been using for the other one. So basically you say something like bus 7 and then change the input of this vocal bus to bus 7. Now this will act independently with itself going through bus 7, unscathed and unbothered by the first record here in vocal bus that is there. And you can constantly just keep making duplicates and duplicates and duplicates of this. Just make sure that you change the buses of them so that those vocals aren't going through the same bus as the other one, okay? And you should be good to go. If you have any more questions, make sure you email us at helpmedevon@gmail.com.